Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar podcast. Today I'm talking to the CEO founder of Tracy Beavers Coaching, and what she does is he helps online business owners stop feeling invisible and start growing their leads and list effortlessly every day. So I'm excited to be rocking out today with Tracy. Hey Tracy, ready to rock?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right, we always start here on a good note. So tell me a story of success that we can be inspired by.
You betcha. So it was about 7 years ago. I was in corporate. Never thought I would want to leave corporate. I was going to be vice president of all things important one day, climbing up the ladder.
Mhm.
And I had very successful, over 20-year award-winning sales career. And I finally realized I was not super happy, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I decided to build my business, the business I have now, business and sales coaching practice, alongside my corporate job to see if I could fully exit. And I'm proud to say that it took me about a year and a half, but I was. I was able to fully exit and build my own business. And so I share that story because I know there are a lot of people that would love to ditch the 9 to 5 grind and build something that's their own. And I love to share that because if I can do it, they can do it too. There's no reason why they can't.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of people that want to ditch the 9 to 5 grind and they just don't know how to do it and what to do, right?
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Now, what you're saying is that you actually built both businesses at the same time. You were still working and you built a business at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. I had to because we're a dual income household, just like most people.
Hmm.
And there was no, I mean, I love my husband dearly, but if I had said to him, hey, I'm going to quit my multi six figure sales career and go make no money for a while, building a business that I have no idea if it's going to work, he would have been like, hold on a minute. And so I just didn't even ask him that question. And also, I know myself so well. I knew that if I had the stress of the money hanging over my head, that it would derail whatever success that I could have had. So I chose to take what I call a step down approach in my corporate job. I was working, the final straw for me was I was working for a CEO, grew his market share 86% the first year I was there, on track to grow at another 38, 40-ish percent the second year. He actually had the nerve to tell me he didn't think I was going to be that successful and he was going to change the commission structure to benefit the company, basically. And I was like, oh, holy cow. I knew I didn't have any control over my time, but I thought as a commission role, I had control, make as much money
Yep.
as you want. Well,
Yep.
apparently not. So that's when I was like, all right, I'm done. But what I did to help me, to give me time to build this business, was I took a different job at a little lower level, not a lot, little lower level, that gave me a little bit more freedom, a little less stress, and allowed me to build the business and sales coaching practice. And I started locally with people who knew me. They knew my track record, and they were like, yes, I want you to help me. And then as that business grew, as my business grew, I took another step down to a lesser role in corporate, more freedom, working remotely, and that's how I chose to approach it.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's because for a while I was stuck in the all or nothing mentality, Tim, thinking I either have the corporate job or I have the online business. And it finally dawned on me. I was like, well, duh, you could do both at the same time until and keep your feet in both. But to be realistic about it, I had to get to lesser roles. And eventually the last role I had was fully remote, working from home for a manager. When I went to work for her, I told her, I said, look, I'm building an online business. I'm going to be a business and sales coach. This is not long term for me. She said, I'm totally on board with that. She also had a side hustle she was building.
Mhm.
She said, I know you're going to produce for me. I know you're going to do a great job, and I'm not worried about it. And I was like, thank you, God. I mean, finally, somebody that understood, and wasn't threatened by what I was doing.
Wow. Tracy, this is really good information because I think there's a lot of people that are stuck in that.
Yeah.
Like, because I know we talk about people, I mean, there's lots of people that will sort of like, you know, they lose a job or
Mhm.
they're willing to quit or something like that. But then there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are stuck with high incomes
Yes.
and the lifestyle that goes along with that, right?
Yes.
And they're like, what do I do? I can't just like I've had that conversation so many times with like I
Yeah.
can't leave my job now.
Yeah.
I'll have to start all over again and I've got all
Right.
this stuff. So you've
Right.
got
Right.
like a
Right.
really cool system on how to like step
Mhm.
back from that. Now,
Mhm.
when you started to step down though, like what was the reaction from your CEO when you started to kind of like scale back a little bit and take lower jobs?
Oh, I think he knew right away when he said he was going to change the commission structure. I was like, okay. And then he presented me with a contract, and I was like, this is so ambiguous. And he knew I was going to leave. I mean,
Okay.
the writing was on the wall. So he was not shocked, and I didn't care because I thought, if you don't know how to compensate a sales force, I can't work for you.
Hmm.
The other thing I did, Tim, that I failed to mention was I think we all need to get a very clear picture of our finances when we're starting to
Yeah.
make a move like this, because
Yeah.
the reality is there is a lot of money I was spending on things that we did not need. They were things that we wanted, lifestyle things. And so I had to ask now, I didn't want to do anything to disrupt the kids' comfort or my husband, but anything that was for me that was not necessary, like food, clothing, shelter, um, I was like, Tracy, get real. And so I trimmed the fat as much as I could on so that I knew exactly the enough amount of money, the enough number to keep the lights on, so to speak, because I
Hmm.
promised my husband I would not derail our retirement. We had worked very
Uh,
hard to make sure that we could retire by a certain age. And he said, I'm all on board with this, but you cannot derail the plan we have. And I said, I'm on board with that. I will do that. So I had to commit to maintaining putting that amount of money into our retirement every month, regardless. So I knew that was a fixed thing I had to do. But then I had to look at what was I spending money on? And if you look at that and you trim some of that stuff down, your number is not as big as you think. Just
yeah.
because you're making six figures a year, if you shouldn't be spending all that. I mean, I hate to sound like a mother hen, but it's the truth. Really look at your bills and say, do I need this? Do I need this huge cable thing? Can we do without it in the short term? Do I need to get my hair done every 6 weeks to the tune of $200? Or could I go 8 or 9 or 10 weeks and be okay? Did I need to get my nails done? Did I need to get my toes done? Did I need to dry clean my clothes? Did I need to, you know what I mean? Like just look at all that. Did I need to have Sirius XM radio? Let's talk about how expensive that is. And so I shut that thing off and I turned my car into a rolling office and I started listening to audiobooks that were free and podcasts. And I
Yeah.
started building, and I flooded my brain with business building podcasts instead of paying for that expensive radio. So we've got to get creative. There is a way to work this out. We just have to figure out the pieces of the puzzle for you and what's going to fit. And the other thing I told myself was, okay, when I exit corporate, if if this thing fails, I get out on my own and I fall on my face, I can always go find another job,
Yeah.
you know? Or maybe I have a lot of clients that do this. They're building the online business, the income's not quite there, so they'll supplement with something part time. They'll be a VA for somebody, or they'll go substitute teach, or they'll go fill in at an insurance agent's office a couple of days a week. There are things we can do to get the money we need. We just have to think outside the box.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think one of the things that people do get stressed out about is that if they do have to go get another job because it didn't
Mhm.
work, then they have to start at the bottom again and work their way back up
No,
again.
not necessarily. I think that's a story we tell ourselves.
Hmm. I agree. I'm on board. I've been self-employed for a long time now. That's just what I hear from other people is that
Yeah.
but you're right. I think it is a story. I think it's just one of those things to kind of keep us stuck in
Yes.
whatever situation they're in right now. Another one is the
Yeah.
benefits. People
Oh,
keep talking
yes.
about the benefits that they have. Like, what do you mean
Yeah.
benefits? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
about if I don't know. I mean, this is actually information that I found out, through my dad getting laid off. But when he got laid off from his company, he lost his benefits.
Yes.
And then anything existing that he had was no longer covered because the
Hmm.
new the new plan that he got, it was all existing conditions. Like
Yeah.
those benefits are like an old antiquated thing. That was when you used to work for the same company for 40 years or 50 years and then
Correct.
retire, right?
Yeah.
It
Correct.
doesn't happen anymore.
I
Not
know
very
it
often
doesn't.
anyway.
No, exactly. When I was in college, this is how old I am. When I was in college, they told us you get the job, a job, or, you get a job, you stay there for 40 years. You don't switch jobs. Well, that went by the wayside starting in about 2005 when companies started restructuring and all that.
Yep.
But no, that is a valid point, the benefits. That was something that my husband asked me. He goes, "Now, you're going to be giving up your company match on your retirement." And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, let's look at that number. What is that number exactly?" And it turned out it was like $6,000, which is a lot of money. Don't get me
Yep.
wrong. But I was like, what if I could make more than that in my online business and put more than that into the retirement? He was like, that's intriguing. So we just had, I was like, let me give it a shot. Just let me give it a shot. And I have put way more. In fact, I could go pay off our house right now with the
Wow.
amount I've made in my business.
Yeah.
So, but the benefits thing, if you are a single person, I was lucky. My husband has a great job. He is a company man. He loves his W-2 job. And so we have benefits through him. So that's great. But a lot of people don't have that. But
Yeah.
there are lots of ways to get insurance. There are lots of ways to fund a retirement. You just have to find the right people and have honest conversations and let them help you.
Yeah. I pay my own benefits and I have for years now. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, really all they say when you get benefits is that the company is going to pay a portion of that. They don't even pay the whole thing. You still have to pay for them, right? So it's
Yep.
like just this thing, oh yeah, I'm getting benefits. You're actually not. You're paying half of them.
Yeah.
Now you might get a discounted rate. However, the
Hmm.
disadvantage is like what we just said, if you were to leave that job, now you lose them and anything pre-existing is going to get but yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing that uh, people really should understand, I think from your story especially, is that when you're working for a company, it's up to them. They could change the commission structure whenever they want to, like they
Absolutely.
did,
Yep.
right? And you had a situation where you were like, you know what? I'm a high producer. I can go out there and I can make this work. I can make as much money as I want, and then they
Yep.
change it on you, and now you
Yep.
can't, right?
And they can change your benefits anytime too.
They sure can. Yep. They
Yep.
can change your benefits. They can change what
Mhm.
they match. All those things can change.
Everything.
And now the longer you stay, like I don't know, maybe this is a misconception as well, but
Mhm.
do you think that the longer you stay, the harder it is to get out?
Gosh, that's a great question. I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that again, I think that's a story we tell ourselves because my
Mm.
question would be, what's the cost of staying?
Yeah.
My friend Kristen Chimick wrote a book recently about that. It's a great book. And I think it's called The Cost of Staying. And it's all about her story about staying too long in corporate and putting up with a whole bunch of BS.
Yep.
And the other thing was, it was starting to affect my health, the stress of it. I developed an autoimmune situation that I hadn't seen coming, and that was due to stress. I mean,
Yep.
there's there's the money cost, and then there's the health cost
Yep.
and happiness cost. And so, sure, the longer you stay in a job, maybe the more bonus you get, or maybe the better benefits package, or the more vacation. Well, all right, really look at that. Just really look at that and ask yourself, can I still have that working for myself? And
Yep.
chances are you can have most of it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I, I do think that like some of the things that you mentioned, like when you were thinking about leaving, you started to focus a little bit more on your finances and where you
Mhm.
could cut things. Like it's just I think that there's a lot of people that are in situations where they're just not looking at any of that stuff
No, they're not.
forever, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's the reason why they're scared.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you really took a step back, in even if you are working a job, I mean, when you're working a business, there's no way around it. I mean, we could probably talk about that in a little bit later, but I mean, you need to know your numbers. It just
Yeah.
is what it is, right?
Yes. You need to know
Uh,
your numbers.
right. And so when you're an employee, maybe you don't, I mean, you should know your numbers, but you can get away with not for
Correct.
quite a while, right? I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
the money comes in, you figure it out, and it just kind of works out that way. But the another huge benefit is that when you do start your own thing and you start looking at these
Mhm.
numbers, you start to realize that wow, I can be so much more efficient with the money that I'm bringing in,
Yeah.
and I also have the ability to just work harder and make more, right? Or
Yeah.
work smarter, sorry, work smarter and make more,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
So, okay, that's a lot of good stuff. However, there's some bad stuff that happens too on the
Yeah,
business
there is.
journey.
Oh yeah.
What can you share with me a big one that we can learn from?
Oh yeah, totally. So I have my own podcast. It's called Create Online Business Success, and one of the episodes that's been the most popular is the money mistakes that I made with my
Mm,
business. And honestly, Tim, I think we need to have more discussions about this because in the one of the things that gets my goat in the online space is all of the stories of the highlight reels of, oh, I had my first launch and I made $100,000, or I made $10,000 in 10 minutes,
yep.
doing XYZ. And I'm like, BS, you did. I'm sorry. Can I look at your profit and loss and find out what your expenses really are? That's what I want to know.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so we need to be more transparent about things. Building an online business has expenses with it. And that is something we don't talk about a lot. And a lot of people like me make mistakes in the beginning. The first coach I hired, $6,000, bad fit. That was a
Hmm.
big learning mistake. Another thing I stubbed my toe on twice is paid ads. Now, for some of my clients, it depends on your audience. If you have a certain audience, paid ads can work really well for you, and you can get leads very inexpensively. For me, my audience is online coaches, course creators, and the service providers that service them, and that audience is really expensive because it's popular. And so I tried paid ads twice, probably wasted $10,000 in that
Wow.
endeavor. Um, but along the way, I learned a lot of lessons. I tried out some tech software platforms that were like, I started out with Kajabi, which I'm still with Kajabi, but then I got my head turned by another one that was a white label of Go High Level,
Yep.
and tried to learn that. That was terrible. Not good, a good fit for me. It's a good fit
No.
for some people, but it wasn't a good fit for me. So that was an expensive lesson. Um, Gosh, I hired a couple of wrong people. I mean, we make mistakes, but we learn along the way. And I learned in that $6,000 coach mistake to ask better questions before I hire somebody and to find
Mm.
out exactly what the format is and how much time do I actually get with the coach. With the paid ads thing, I learned to ask better questions. The first time I ran ads, I had no business running ads. And the person that I hired from an ethical standpoint should have said that to me, but they
Mm.
didn't. And the reason why was because I didn't have proof of concept. I did not have a proven product that was already selling and doing well. I thought paid ads would be the silver bullet to fix that. They're not. And then the second time I did it, I had proof of concept, but and I had leads coming in, but they didn't stay on my list and they didn't convert. And so, I say all that but what ended up happening out of that was I had to get really creative. And I thought, okay, I need to grow my email list, which is what I teach now. And I did what all the list growth coaches said to do, which is create a free lead magnet, put it out on social media, and your list will grow. Okay, cool. I had 3 lead magnets. My list was growing, but I wanted out of this corporate job and it wasn't happening fast enough for me. And through those paid ad failures, I learned how to squeeze every last nook and cranny out of Facebook
Mm.
or list growth in ways that other people have not even thought about and they don't teach. And that is how my group coaching program was born. I have a group coaching program called Business Visibility Made Easy. We do it 3 times a year. It's 8 weeks. People love it because I teach fresh list growth strategies. And I built my multi six-figure business on Facebook. And they're like,
Wow.
what? They're like, Facebook's dead. And I'm like, no, it's not. You just need somebody to teach you how to use it. So out of that failure came really good things that have allowed me to build my business and to help people.
And it's funny because I wonder if that would have even happened if the failures didn't happen, right?
I know, right? I know. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's like a mind bender.
It
You're
is.
like
It's like, yeah,
you're like
I'd
I
like
would
to
have
have a
liked to have
crystal
not
ball.
failed, but
Right.
where would I be if
Yeah,
I didn't?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And and the other thing is, as much success as I have had and as many people as I have coached, I still have days where I feel down and I
Mm.
feel doubt and I'm scared, or my brain is fighting against me to do something that's new and different. And so, that's the other thing. That feeling never really goes away. I
Yeah.
thought when I started my online business, I thought that there would come a point where it would be built and I would be done. And I was racing to try to get to that finish line so fast. And about 8 months in, I was exhausted. And I was like, why can't I get to the finish line? And then I realized that with an online business, it's never fully built. We're not building a McDonald's franchise that you can build and stare at it and go, isn't that something? The
Yeah.
employees are in there, the cash registers are in there, here's the menu, we're churning out French fries. That's not what we're building. And this thing is going to grow and evolve over time, and I've got to be willing to grow and evolve with it.
Yeah.
That was another lesson I learned.
Yeah. And things change so fast
Oh
too.
my
Like
gosh.
even a platform like Facebook could go under. Now
Oh,
what?
for
Right?
sure. Yeah. That's why we have to build an email list. The whole thing with TikTok recently, are they here? Are they not? Are they sticking
Mm,
around? We don't know. And then, 2 years ago, Facebook and Instagram went dark for about 36 hours and people were freaking out. But
yeah.
those of us that built an email list, we weren't freaking out.
No. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, and I mean, I think that you had mentioned, well, I had mentioned that your business makes people feel less invisible.
Yes.
And I do think that is a thing because I feel like in this world, I mean, you just go to any one of those social media platforms, there's tons of people, but it's
Yep.
like so much noise. And
Yeah.
how do you get people to like look at you? I mean, because
Mhm.
I think you're right. I think you sort of go online and they're like, oh, just create a lead magnet, boom, all of a sudden magic things are gonna happen. Like, and it totally
Yeah.
doesn't work that
Right.
way. So
Right.
what's the secret that you've figured out?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm a business and sales coach. There is one of me on every corner of the internet.
Mm,
I mean, throw a rock and you will hit a business and sales coach, right? And so that's a great question to ask me. How did you break through, Tracy? How do you have this business with all these clients? And what it comes back to is there's not one thing. Yes, the lead magnets are important. That's one piece of the bigger picture that we have to put together. So what I help my clients do is pick their thing. What do you want to be known for? What do you want
yeah,
people to come to you for? Do you want to help caregivers that are caring for somebody with dementia? I have another client that helps caregivers with Parkinson's diagnosis. I have another client that's a quilter and loves to teach people how to quilt. Here I am. I'm a business and sales coach, but my messaging is getting you visible and helping you grow your list and bring in more leads. That's my thing, and it takes a while for you to get known for that, but we've got to go in on that and get the lead magnets out there, the offers out there. We have to be consistent with our content. And what I mean by that, I don't mean exhausting yourself trying to post twice a day, 7 days a week, all year long. That's not sustainable unless you have a team. I don't recommend that. What I do mean is committing to what you can do. So when I was building alongside my corporate job, I had to be really realistic about my time. I knew I wanted to develop my own free Facebook group because it was going to be a great list growth strategy, also give me a chance to do market research with my ideal clients and get to know them in a way that couldn't get to know them anywhere else because they're in my community, right? And we're having conversations. So I knew I wanted to do that. All right, well, how much time is that going to take? How many posts in that group did I want to do each week? And then I had to have my regular piece of weekly content. And I teach my clients to pick either a live video, going live on social, or a podcast or a blog, preferably the live video or the podcast, because a blog doesn't deepen that know, like, and trust factor as fast as being able to hear me and see me, right?
yeah,
So I said, okay, podcast, this was, gosh, at this point, I think it was 7 years ago. Anyway, I was like, oh God, I don't think I want to do that. That's a microphone, that's a studio, that's lighting, that's tech, that's editing. No. Tracy does not love tech. So no, I was like, uh-uh. But I can talk to a brick wall. And I thought, I'll push a live button and I'll go live. That'll be my thing. So I've been going live at 11:30 on Thursday for years. But I did that. I was consistent with it. And then I knew, okay, that's one piece of social media content. Then I repurposed that live content into 2 to 3 social media posts for the week, got those done, threw in a couple of lead magnets. Now I had 5 things I could post every week, week in, week out, without fail, but I had to stick with it. And so what I help my clients and students do is, okay, I'm like, okay, Tim, tell me what's going on in your life. Are you caring for a parent? You have little kids at home? Do you have a full-time job? Let's figure out what can you do week in, week out and stay consistent with it, even on the weeks when we don't feel like it. And if it's only 2 posts a week and then you go live, do that. Because when you maintain that consistency, that is what ramps up your visibility with the algorithm. That is what pushes you out beyond your competition because you are consistent and your competition's not going to be.
Yeah. Wow.
The big mistake is I'm going to go post 7 days a week. I'm going to get so excited about it. Okay, cool. Well, tell me how you feel in 30 days. You're going to be exhausted and you're going to quit and you're going to take a break for 2 weeks. And then you're going to come back and you're going to try to pick that boulder that's down at the bottom of your hill, back up and push it back up the hill. Then you're going to get exhausted and you're going to let the boulder fall back down. That is not going to build a business. So the biggest thing to break through is to just pick your regular piece of weekly content, pick what you want to talk about, get out there, let people hear you, see you, make those connections. And before you know it, your business growth is going to blow wide open.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So good. And that is the mentality that a lot of people have is like go really fast. You know what? A
Yeah.
good analogy I heard for that one is like it's like if what's going to get you better results? Working out for 5, 10 minutes every day
Hmm.
or working out for full day, 24 hours once a year.
Once a year. I know. That's a great analogy. I love
Like,
that.
you say maybe the same amount of time, probably more, but
Yeah.
it's not going to do anything really. You're going to wake up the next day exhausted and you're not going to be able to get out of bed for a week.
Right.
Right?
You're not gonna be able to walk.
Yeah, but people don't see it that way. They're like
Yeah.
they get all super excited about things and just want to go full steam ahead, and that's just not sustainable. So I
Right.
love that advice. It's really, really good.
Awesome.
Right. So, okay, it's time for your guest solo. So tell me what's exciting in your business.
I am really excited about my business. At the time of this recording, ending summer, and I did something a little different the last few months. I've been running low cost live workshops, not for the income, but for the visibility and the audience growth. And like we're talking about, being a thought leader in the space and giving people a low cost way to come see what I'm all about, to hopefully warm them up to my larger offer, which is the 8 week group coaching program. And so that's been really fun. I'm doing my third one next week. And then we do launch Business Visibility Made Easy towards the end of September with live masterclasses in October. And so I'm really excited about that. And the other thing I'm excited about is my podcast. I launched it last year, finally. I had a podcast on my list from the beginning. I knew even though I was going live, I'm like, I would love to have a podcast. How much fun would that be? Well, the tech just kept stopping me. My brain kept
Yeah.
saying, nope, don't do that. But I finally got time to tackle that last year, launched it, and it's been so much fun. So there's a lot of exciting things going on.
Yeah, podcasts are a lot of fun. They're also a lot
Yeah.
of work, aren't they?
Well, they can be, except that the way we're doing it is a little different. So my format is to use my live training.
Okay.
So and it was one of those duh moments. One of the things that kept me from getting to it for so long was I thought, okay, you're going live, your audience is expecting it, they love it, you love it. Okay, you'll do that, and then you're going to have to go and sit in a bedroom in a closet somewhere and then record the podcast. And I'm like, that's a lot of time, and then
Hmm.
edit it and all that other jazz. So what a friend of mine was like, Tracy, you're using StreamYard to go live. Pull the audio and use that for your podcast. And I was like,
Ah,
well, duh, that makes perfect sense. So when you listen to my podcast, you'll hear me say, today's episode is a live training I did for my free Facebook group. And
wow.
then I hired somebody for an hour of their time to teach me how to use Descript, which, full disclosure, it took me 2 weeks to learn how to use because
It's
tech is
harder
not
than
my
it
jam.
should be.
Oh, my
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
Here's the irritating part. Our son, who's the senior in college, is my podcast manager. Last year, when I was started to doing this, I go, hey, do you want to be my podcast manager? He's like, sure, but I don't even know what that means. I'm like, no worries. I got you. We'll figure it out. And so he got into Descript. And do you know how annoying this was? He learned it in like 15 minutes. He goes, Mom, this is not that hard. I was like, oh my. Okay, whatever. So anyway, he is doing the tech part. So I pull the audio, I record my cold open. He gets into Descript, stitches it all together, gets the final comp, throws it out on Buzzsprout, and makes me look amazing. But so that's how we're repurposing ours. We're just so the
Yeah.
podcast is like, extra. on top.
Well, the podcast, I mean, that's the thing. The podcast is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's just a something, right?
Yeah.
So I love what you did there. You basically taken the work that you already did and just stitching it together and releasing it in a different way. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Thanks.
awesome. So now, uh, who is it that you think would get the most out of like your material?
Oh, definitely online entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators, and the service providers that help them. So, like website developers, copywriters, VAs, they're all looking for visibility too. They're
Yeah.
all looking for their ideal clients. And so, people that are, what I hear a lot is that people come to me, they're like, Tracy, I feel invisible. I feel like I'm screaming into the void on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I'm not getting any conversions. I'm not getting leads coming in. My list growth is stalled. And so that's where I come in and I help them because it's hard to see our own stuff. And that's why I will always have somebody in my life that I've hired to either be a coach or like right now, I don't technically have a coach, but I have a strategist. I have I don't know if, I don't even know what to call her. Her name's Maureen. We'll just call her Maureen. But she's like an integrator, strategist, higher level. So she's looking at my business from a higher level and
Okay.
she's seeing all the gaps of things that I could be doing better. Because it's hard to see those gaps and those leaks on your own. And so that's what I help my clients do because chances are there's a few things that we could do different, plugging those leaks that will just explode their business.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't see your own blind spots. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
For
we've
sure.
got to,
Yeah.
we don't have eyes in the back of our head, and it's the same thing in our
Now
brains.
listen, Tim. Don't tell my children that because I've told them that for their entire lives. I've got eyes in the back of my head.
Maybe there's like mirrors on your glasses or
Right.
something that you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah. We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, so now actually one more question.
Yeah.
If I were to go and look at some of your free material, would there
Yeah.
be enough there that I would actually get something from it that I could use?
You bet. Because I don't do fluff. Yep.
Awesome.
Betcha. Yep.
And where can they find it?
So if they want to go to my website, tracybeavers.com, there's a drop down that says marketing resources. And I have, oh gosh, probably 10 or 12 really good lead magnets on there, like how to make sure your Facebook personal profile is actually growing your email list. Same thing for your Facebook business page. If you want to set up your own free group, there's information on that. If you want to navigate other people's groups for visibility and list growth, even the ones that don't allow promotion, there's something on that.
Ooh. Ooh.
There's a mindset one that's been very popular. It's a less than 60-second exercise where I walk you through how to rewire your brain for success. And that one's been really popular in the last year or so, I think, just because of all the stress that people have been feeling.
All
So,
right.
yeah, tons of stuff.
Good. Last question, hardest one. Who's your favorite rock star?
Oh, gosh. Holy cow. That threw me for a loop. Well, for different reasons. Okay, so Chris Stapleton, I'll listen to him sing the phone book. He's so
Yeah.
good on my
Uh-huh.
stars. And I cannot believe he didn't think he should be a singer. I was like, what in the world? I love Justin Timberlake because he's so jazzy and so fun. Anything by Earth, Wind, and Fire gets me up and
Ooh,
grooving.
okay.
Love September. That song just But then you got to love Etta James for At Last. That's my song with my husband.
Hmm.
And then let's talk about Taylor Swift for a second. Now, like her or not, that girl is running the United States of America. I
Hmm.
mean, she just kind of is. And for I love her music, I do, but for even if you don't love her music, I think we all have to sit back as business owners and admire her marketing strategy is
Yeah.
banging. So that's
Yeah.
not one person. I'm sorry. I can't give you one person.
Oh, that's fine. I'm the same way. It's like, as a musician, they say, "Who's your favorite musician?" I'm like, I can't even answer that. I'll give you a
I
whole
know.
bunch.
I know. I know.
Those are really good ones.
Thanks. My husband is the same way. He loves music. He has no talent for it. Like I played musical instruments growing up, but he knows music. And I have to tell you a funny story. We went to Memphis and we were at Sun Records doing a tour. And he was so excited, because that's where Elvis played and Jerry Lee Lewis and all
Yeah.
these people. And what they did tell us, though, that Maroon 5 had recorded there. And I was all
Oh.
excited. We walk out and we're with the kids, and John's like, well, what was your favorite part? And they're like, the Elvis thing and the Jerry Lee Lewis thing. And I go, well, I really wish they would have told us more about Maroon 5. And he died laughing. He was like, the Sun Records thing was lost on you. Like you just didn't get it. So that's been a running joke for a long time is I just wish they would have told me more about Maroon 5. So anyway,
Awesome. Well, this has been a ton of fun, Tracy. Thank you so much for
thanks.
rocking with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And to the listeners, make sure you go to workathomerockstar.com for more information. We'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.